Warning, this video contains spoilers for this Thursday's Steven Universe Half-Hour Special, Gem Harvest. If you do not want to be spoiled, click off this video right now, and be very careful on the internet. Hey guys, Oshrik Vox here, and this is my first time really doing this. I was always conflicted on the whole leak situation. Should I talk about them, should I not? Because, you know, this is a Steven Universe heavy channel. A lot of my content on here is Steven Universe, and that includes news, and when I look at other YouTube channels that cover shows or video games, they include the leaks as news because really it is news. And being a big YouTuber in the Steven Universe community like myself, I can't avoid leaks. People will always tweet them to me. In fact, even though I already looked at the leaked images, at this point, I have to see them or else people are gonna tweet them to me. Someone already tweeted to me these images this morning, so like I said, I just can't really escape them. So, might as well talk about them because I know a lot of other people are gonna see them anyways. And keep in mind, we only got images from the first half of this episode because I already know people are going to be disappointed at what they see so far because it's not a fusion or a new gem. And frankly, that's okay, and if nothing major happens in the second half, then if we don't learn any more gem harvesting, then actually, this will be the first time that I wholeheartedly agree that this is a misleading title, that it wasn't just expectations, because you can't just name an episode Gem Harvest after Paradigm mentions gem harvesting and catch and release. That would just be a big tease and a mistake on the Universe's part if they don't want to mislead people. But this is a case of, yes, this is definitely a misleading title. Despite my other video defending the other choices for titling, this is no double meaning. And if it is, it's a poor one because we want to learn the concept of gem harvesting. But that being said, I still feel like these leaks are huge, even though they don't show anything really big or game changing. And I do think this will be a big episode, and I'll explain why in a little bit. But just keep in mind, all of the crystal gems are in this episode. That has not happened since Hit the Diamond or Back to the Moon. And Back to the Moon, it was 2 seconds. And I consider those big episodes, those have plot in them. So I know this won't have plot in them, even if it's not directly tied to Homeworld. There is one major thing that makes this episode so important. And I think for this fact alone, you can't write off as filler. But like I said, we haven't seen the episode yet, so we can't really be sure, and as I said before, these images only come from the first half of the episode. Now, the first 2 images are from what we've seen at Comic-Con, of Steven bringing a pumpkin dog to life, and then Pumpkin Dog being horrified at Steven Carver got a pumpkin. However, the third screenshot that was leaked, straight from CN servers, because how these leaks work is basically Cartoon Network has this on-demand streaming service, on their website to watch full episodes, and they have to upload preview images. And the preview images are just random shots from the episode. But for half-hour episodes like Bismuth, which was the first actual true half-hour special, and this one, since it's the second, the screenshots only come from the first half of the episode, so they're not going to give too much away if there's some crazy twist in the second half, which I'm really hoping for. But yeah, this third image is of Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl, and they look rather... Well, Pearl looks disgusted, and she's looking at Garnet like, what? And Amethyst is just not pitching in. Garnet looks kind of concerned, confused. I wonder if they're reacting just to Pumpkin Dog or something else. But however, this next one, I consider a huge spoiler. It ties into the promo that we saw. And it is the new stranger in Steven's life. And I don't think people actually realize how big this is. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new member of the Universe family. If you recall in the episode Space Race, Greg talked about his aunt and uncle who had a great love for aviation and each other, but how he talked about it made it seem like they were dead. But this, at least, could be the aunt. It could just be a cousin or a relative of the aunt and uncle, but I'm gonna say we're just gonna call Steven's relative. I can't really be even sure of the gender. I'm assuming it's a woman, and I'm assuming it's the aunt, who's actually still alive, so this could be Steven's great aunt. But then again, Barbara and Vidalia are drawn old, and Sour Cream's a teenager, and Sadie's a teenager or a college student, I'm not really sure. So the age could be ambiguous. But this is definitely a relative of the Universe family. If it's the aunt and it's Steven's great aunt, I'd be surprised because I honestly got to thought they were dead. Just because Greg talked about them in a past tense, so maybe they got divorced, or maybe one of them died in a horrific flying accident. But this is huge because this adds to Steven's character arc. It was just him and Greg for the longest time when it comes to human family. Yeah, he had the entire population of Beach City, but for family, it really was just him and Greg for the longest time. Greg even said, something happens to you, I'm gonna be fresh out of family. So this could do wonders for Steven's growth, his character arc, And now that I think about it, the press image of all the gems looking is probably Steven's relative holding him up. And that's why they're all shocked, but Garnet and Lapis are smiling, because they know, oh, Steven has more relatives, that's a good thing, but everyone else is shocked because, like, oh, Steven has more family? What? And for everyone, the commenters, me, Michael from Cartoon Universe, everyone who called this, give yourself a pat on the back. I saw a lot of people saying maybe this is Sadie or Onion, and I never thought that was the case because it was just like a full-blown human, like grown-up adult body. That's what I meant. It was a full-grown adult body. Way bigger than Sadie, and definitely way bigger than Onion. Now, I'm pretty sure the reason why Steven's relative is at the barn is because, as Greg mentioned, the barn belonged to his aunt and uncle. So if that relative isn't his aunt or uncle, that's why I believe it's Steven's, like, cousin, the son of that aunt and uncle, coming to check up on the barn. And it's going to be kind of ticked off when they stumble upon gems living in the barn. And the fact that Peridot and Lapis have turned into art exhibit, funhouse, McDonald's play place extravaganza, and may not be pleased by that. But another reason I think it's a huge thing is because if you guys recall, I made a video circling on a human joining the Crystal Gems, you know, besides Connie, because Connie's already basically an honorary Crystal Gem. She's already going on missions with them, and we know that humans fought alongside in the war. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, I think we found the new honorary Crystal Gem who's going to be a human, and that is Steven's relative. Why do I think that? If this is his aunt or uncle, or someone related to that aunt or uncle, if they had a love for inventing and aviation, I'm sure this character will too. Which means they could be a great inventor. And even though they may not be as advanced as the gems, let's be honest, the gems are pretty outnumbered when it comes to homeworld. They're going to need as much help as they can get. So yes, I do believe that one Steven's relative would eventually by the end of the episode, I believe that first will be kind of ticked off by the gems. Who knows, maybe it'll even be like an allegory for racism, prejudice, they took my barn! But by the end of the episode, Steven's new relative will be fond of the gems, or at least learning how, tolerate and accept them, and they will begin working together on future inventions and projects, which will be that character's great role throughout the series. Or it could be a repeat of business, and that character's like gone by the end of the episode, or bubbled. Can humans be bubbled? Well, time to find out. This next image actually kind of contributes to the whole Steven's relative is gonna hate gems thing, because they look pretty ticked off. Like, who has in their cereal? And I'm assuming they're ticked off because they see what happens to the barn. And if this is Steven's aunt or uncle, it would make sense, like, even more sense for them to be upset because it was their barn, and they come back and they see that. This next image is also pretty interesting. Peridot, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a comic relief moment. Peridot has, like, a remote control. She's standing next to Lapis, and Steven looks pretty alarmed, like, no, don't press that button. So that button is the remote control to, like, the barn. Peridot did some, like, mecha shit to it. Maybe it's some destruct button, maybe Steven's relative is, like, getting some kind of contraption Peridot made, checking it out. Peridot's pressing that button, and Steven's like, no, like, they will not survive that. It's gonna be something along those lines, but definitely it's like a comic relief shot just because of Steven's eyes, and Peridot and Lapis looking like, what do we do? This next shot, which also kind of contributes to the fact that Steven's relative is gonna hate the gems at first, this might be an allegory for racism, is that Greg just looks kind of sad, like, oh man, I didn't think this through, or like, I didn't think things would be like this. And you gotta feel for Greg, man. Has more families show up and they instantly hate his new family, because the gems basically are Greg's, like, family. They're definitely Steven's family. And we know from season 1 that Greg and Garnet plays tennis every weekend. And we know Greg and Amethyst hang out. And after the events of Mr. Greg, him and Pearl are on good terms too, so it's like, that basically is Greg's family now. Granted, I don't think he's really hung out with Peridot or Lapis much. Lapis pushed him off the roof of the barn the first time they met, and Greg watched Lapis confront Jasper, but I haven't seen, like, some actual bonding between them. This next image, which is pretty amusing, is Amethyst turned into a pumpkin dog, and is playing with the other pumpkin dog, the little pupper. And I think this is a reference to what Lauren Zook tweeted last year, or what Lauren Zook tweeted last year was a reference to this like, scene, this shot. Because she said there was a note on the storyboard that said multiple jokes about dogs in all caps. The more you know. So I'm glad this episode will have humor in it, and like I said, this is all from the first half, so we can't really make much of what's going on, especially just from these images. And the last leaked image is how, like, I believe some kind of engine, maybe some kind of contraption, that either Steven's relative made or the gems made to try to impress Steven's relative. Who knows? So the second half of the episode will probably have that scene from the promo of Steven, like Labs is like throwing Steven into the plane. I believe that's like a race scene. And guys, remember how there was a leaked episode title called The War that may or may not be real? What if The War is actually the second half of the Gem Harvest? I hope that's not the case, but then it'd be like a war between the gems and Steven's relatives to see like who claims the barn. That'd be really poopy if that was the case, especially since me and Cartoon Universe kind of hyped this episode up. The war up as like a flashback special, which I still hope is the case. But the more I think about it, the more it could be this too. You know, there still could be some crazy twist in the second half with a corrupted gem or homeworld. But I think what's gonna make this special like really important is the fact that it is a family special. This has to be the family special that Ian JQ was talking about. That and 3 gems and a baby, because the entire cast is here. All the gems are here. Greg is here. And now Steven has a new relative. This is Steven's family. Only person really missing is Connie. And I definitely think Steven's relative is going to be on some racist, oh, I don't like these gems bullshit. And kind of cliche, kind of very after school special, but I'm sure it'll still be a great episode either way. And I am still rooting for some big twists in the second half. And like I said, people, we only saw the first half and that one shot in the second half, so we know that some shit does go down in the second half. Even if it's just like a race to claim the barn, to show who's better or whatever. The fact this episode introduces a new member of the Universe family already does not, like, it's disqualified as filler just for that reason alone, in my opinion. That title, though, probably definitely a tease if they don't at least talk about gem harvesting a little bit. Because the beginning of the episode made it seem like it was going in that direction, and now it's going a completely different direction with Steven's family. In Labs and Paradigm, beginning of the episode, we're talking about how they're so lonely at the barn. So I guess the family theme does tie in, but it's definitely a curveball. And I know you guys have been waiting for this episode for a month. You know, I have too. I'm extremely excited for the episode, but don't let your expectations, your hopes and dreams determine your enjoyability of the episode just because it's not exactly what you expected. It's still a half-hour special, so it's going to have some kind of importance to the overall plot. I just really feel like it's necessary to stress that because I know a lot of people may be disappointed if the second half doesn't introduce, you know, a fusion or a new gem or something with Homeworld. And I know where you guys are coming from. You know how many times Gravity Falls disappointed me? The Last Mabelcorn, Weirdmageddon 2, honestly the entire second half of Season 2, but I still loved it and enjoyed it for what it was, but it didn't meet my expectations, that doesn't mean I hated the episodes. No, I still enjoyed them. And it's alright to be disappointed, because like I said, I was disappointed in those episodes, but that doesn't change my overall judgment of them. So I hope you guys will feel the same way about these. Anyways, I hope you guys are excited for the episode still. I know I am. It's just only a few days away. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Comment your thoughts down below. If you think that's Steven's aunt, or just like a relative, or just his uncle, and just shut up his beard. If you think there'll be a fusion in this episode. If you're even so excited for this episode. And like I said, this is the first time of me talking about like leaks of this magnitude. But I asked you guys for your thoughts, and you guys said I should go for it. So if I'm going to be a Steven Universe news channel too, as well as just, you know, theories and reviewing like other Steven Universe and other shows, I have to do leaks too. Or else I'm just half-assing it and glossing over it. But at the end of the day, people are going to look at leaks if they really want to. And like I said, I have to see them anyways because I get spoiled. So it's like, why not cover them and talk about them if I've already seen them? Get my thoughts and theories out there early. And see what other people think. And then when the episode airs, it's like, okay, so that was the case. And I'm actually kind of glad these images don't give too much away, because now we still have a lot of the episode to figure out what the hell is going on. So, until the next video, Awestruck Vox, signing out.